tribute to my brother Jan. Jan was 4.5 years older than me, and that meant a protecting older brother. One aspect of Jan that I would really want to dwell on, and that brought a lot of goodness in my heart about him, is not only how he influenced me and helped me, but how his friends helped me. The first time I realized that Jan had a way to make friends and from whom I could benefit was when I was in nursery school. I was then about 5 years old and he was coming to about 10. And every morning Daddy would drop off at school, sometimes an hour early so that he could be at his place of work. And being at school an hour early than class meant you play or hang around friends. So I hung around my brother. I was not very old. And he had his friend called Chizito. Chizito had come into some money. He had inherited his father's estate. His father had died. And so he came to school with his pocket full. And me being a vulnerable little boy, he took pity on me. So whenever we were hanging around waiting for classes to start, he would say, "Hey, go eat as much sumbusa as you want from the ladies vending sumbusa." So most mornings I would go to school with my stomach full. And when school becomes enjoyable, you've got a good stomach filled up, it's enjoyable. So I had a good time at school because of Jan's friends. And around the village, Jan too had friends that greatly influenced my life. I remember one guy called Kasirivu. He was a guitar player. And Jan would often go and hang out with him. And that was during Jan's teenage years. So one day I was hanging out with Jan and his friend Kasirivu, and he started to play a song. And that song, he says, "Bino vyetulava vya kasandali." Yes, Jesse Kasirivu was a guitar player with the Cranes. And because of that song and his beautiful girlfriend, Idi Amin slaughtered him. Well, Jan goes on around the village making other friends. He goes on to Kololo School where he makes still more friends. One of them that I recall two, but one of them is called Dan Sekanwaji. Dan Sekanwaji and James and Jan, they had fun and they got into mischief. But the thing is that he was a good guy and he became my friend. And 50 years down the line, we're still friends. He's an artist and I'm an artist. Whenever I go through Texas, I call on him. In fact, the last time we had a three-way talk with Jan, Dan, and me, and it was enjoyable. Another good friend from Kololo days is Haruna Sebakara. Haruna had lost his brother. Idi Amin had killed him. He came from Gombe and he ended up staying with us at home. Jan's friend became my friend. And the thing that I remember about Haruna is that he helped me with my homework. And one of the things he did was to help me with my literature essay. And he started doing things and he started to describe it in a way that became very appealing to me. And because of Haruna, I'm able to describe my things in a very elaborate way. And it has made sense for me. Now, when Haruna failed to get the marks to get into higher school, he turned to me and I said, "Hey, Haruna, you got help. You're my brother." So me and him jumped on a bicycle. We traveled 80 miles to go see my father, Daddy Tiganga, and he wrote a letter that got Haruna into high school. So Haruna, thank you for being a brother, Jan's friend. Jan too introduced me to two other friends that literally influenced my life. One of them is Jasper Katumba. He was at Makerere Medical School. And his brother, Sam Chigundu, was a friend of Jan. Now these two, when I moved to London, They made my life easier. In fact, Sam Chigundu introduced me to international business. We started importing matoke from Kenya, and then later on when I ventured out on my own, I imported matoke from Uganda. So Jan's friends helped me establish my business in London. From Kololo, Jan goes on to Usitema College. And while there, he makes friends with another guy at college, Martin Kadama. Jan introduced me to Martin. And later on, I got to know Martin's brother Sam and his sister Mary, also who knew him. And especially Sam with my business in London and him at the airlines, we prospered. Thank you, Jan. While I was in London, I met another friend. But this friend, well, he started off back and Jan had complained about him. His name was Agre Mulida. I remember Jan complaining to my mother and says, Mom, how can Dad give a vacation job to my friend Agre, but not to me? I also need some pocket money. And here is Agre with money in his pocket, and I don't have any money in my pocket. And then my mother answered Jan and says, Jan, your father has friends. Agre's father was your father's friend. They went to school together. And more so, Agre's grandfather and your grandfather were best of friends. So sometimes friends become brothers. So be happy. You never know where life ends up. Well, I listened to that, and guess what? I got to London. Agre becomes my friend. And even when I left London, I came here, we used to talk weekly on the phone. So when Agre died, I almost lost a brother. Another person that was also related to Agre was Victoria Nakazana, and she too had a great influence in my life and business in London. Well, I left London 30 years ago. I came here in the United States and joined him. And again, his friends came to my rescue. Dan introduced me to a guy called Dan Chiria. They used to laugh and joke and you call him Tata Chiria. To today, I call him Tata Chiria. Thank you for your friendship. Another one was Musa. Musa still works on my vehicles up to today. Desan, yes. Benon, yes. Benon has been a great influence in my life. Walter, yeah, Walter, me and John and your uncle go back way 40, 50 years ago. Friends. And another friend that's really been long-lasting is a guy called Fred Mumia. Fred Mumia and John were inseparable. And guess what? When I started my business here, it was Fred who started it. So, John had friends. Me, I benefited from friends. So John has always been a big shadow over my life. Now that he's gone, the comfort that I have is I still have his friends. Like the French say, les amis de mes amis sont mes amis. But I will say, John, your friends did become my friends, and we're all together as a family. We miss you, we will love you forever. Thank you.